Hello, hello. Are we good? We are streaming live. Yes. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Stephen Ignoramus here. Oh my gosh, the music isn't even on. Stephen Ignoramus here. Welcome to Call Me Ignorant. Episode number 53 on my end, 9:07 p.m., 10/29/2019. So pleased you could be with us. Call Me Ignorant is a live conversation show, whether with an interesting content creator, an expert in a field, a controversial figure, or with a fellow human being trying to spread a message. Call Me Ignorant will try to solve the problem world conversationally speaking. We're streaming live right now to YouTube's Twitch, Periscope, Mixer, DLive, Smashcast, and Picarto. If you can't catch the show live, you can find it after the fact on the above mentioned platforms, also on BitChute and freedomscoop.com. Call Me Ignorant is also available in podcast format on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and Podbean. You can find me on Twitter at Ignoramus, Discord server link below in the show description, or send me an email at stephenignoramus@gmail.com if you would like to appear on the show. With me on the program tonight are all of the content contributors at Freedom.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Well, we lost Steven at this point, so we will see what keeps going on here.
So we dance.
I realized that my mic was muted, so I couldn't talk to you guys after I bumped my desk.
That was probably the best time for everybody's when your mic was muted.
I was trying to signal you guys. Did you see that? So this is normal.
Yeah.
This is reverse. All right, so hey guys, welcome to the generational J. Edgar Ignoramus show with Wyatt.
Yeah.
With Wyatt.
Yes.
Welcome into all my fans as well coming in, and I hope that you check out everybody else who's on the screen as well.
Yeah, we're pretty awesome.
Are we?
Absolutely.
We are.
In addition,
the two of us are. I don't know about everyone else.
In addition to the
I know.
platforms
You
that
and me,
Steven
John,
mentioned
I
while he
got
was...
That's right.
Oh, poor Steven.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
so frozen. He's frozen in time.
Yeah.
So he's still loading on my screen.
So
He
innocent
never
and pure.
stopped loading.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to jump. So, anyways, hey guys, welcome to the stream. Now Wyatt is gigantic on my screen in the whole middle. It says rehosting now on the YouTube. So, anybody who's just tuning in,
here we go.
way to go.
Oh, hold on.
He's
Uh-oh.
showing up again.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
No, this
somebody
is
provide
logo.
some banter.
Our host is trying. He definitely is.
Oh, and now I'm looking at his. It says offline on his live
I'm trying
stream.
my best.
Yeah.
I hear
Oh,
him.
yeah.
I hear
We've
him.
got the voice.
Stuff.
We've
Oh,
got him.
now it's loading bars.
I liked your old internet better.
There's the man.
Yeah.
It's Nixon.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah. It's that new place.
All right.
That you haven't broken the internet in yet.
I haven't.
Yeah, that's what it
I
is.
gotta work on it.
You need to watch more girly
Can you guys
videos.
see me?
We can see you,
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I think you're
Yes.
perpetually
Okay,
loading.
so
obviously.
I don't think
Am I
that we can
coming in
stream on
clear?
my internet. Okay. I don't think we can stream on my internet, so we'll just keep going on Robert and Jagger's channel. So we're still streaming right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long into my read did we drop?
Pretty much you got to the platforms that you were on.
Oh, all right.
wasn't
I'm gonna
long.
keep going. With me on the program tonight are all the content contributors at freedomscoop.com. Freedom Scoop is a group of independent publishers, podcasters, musicians, authors, and just plain great Americans who wish to have their voice heard in the noise of this big, big world. This is the most people that we have ever had on Call Me Ignorant before, and it seems like a good chance to talk about our individual channel, Freedom Scoop, and how we got into this mess together that we call creating content. Jake is the founder and creator of freedomscoop.com. John and Robert are the hosts of The Generational Gap. J. Edgar is the host of Ed's World and also does solo videos about pop culture. And Wyatt is the founder of Roundtable Decision. And I am the host of The Daily Ignoramus and Call Me Ignorant. All of us are content contributors to freedomscoop.com. Welcome to Call Me Ignorant, everybody. All you gentlemen, thanks for coming on the show. Now that it's not my show. That's someone else's show.
Right.
On my channel.
Thanks for coming to everyone else's show.
Yeah, thanks for coming to your guys' channel. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
we stopped streaming on my channel a second ago because of internet issues. But I figured we could just talk a lot tonight. There's a lot of people, so it's going to be kind of a shit show. But
Yeah.
what I figured we could do first of all is just kind of go in order designated by me, and talk about how we got into the internet. And each of us have our own channel and platform, whatever. But let's start with Jake. And why don't you introduce freedomscoop.com and why you started it, what it is, all those things like.
Hey, before we get started, can I make a suggestion for you, Steven?
Sure.
Do you know how to host on Twitch?
I don't think I can do anything more than I'm doing right now.
Well, I was going to say, if you just bring up your Twitch and just put /host and my channel name, it'll at least transmit to your channel from mine.
I'm just scared of overloading my internet, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
That's slow. So, Jake, why don't you start it off?
I think I'm overloading my internet. I'm looking at myself, and then fuzzy on the screen, but I'm not fuzzy on my other screen. So I look perfect on one thing and not on the other, but that's just like life. Hey, I'm Jake. I am the founder of freedomscoop.com. Self-proclaimed Grand Poobah. That's pretty much it. So I'm here. What do you want to know from me?
What I did a little bit of reading about Freedom Scoop, and I actually copy and pasted the first sentence from the website. So why don't you just give us some more background on what it is, why you started it, and what your goals are for the website?
All right, so we are people who make stuff. That's pretty much the American dream, is make something and make it work and make it good, or make it cheap or make it easy. Now we're just talking about hookers. I can't remember. So I'm hoping that we can get some of these content contributors like yourself, like the Generational Gap, like Edgar. I've been building this for a little while now. Wyatt's written a couple articles. He's got his YouTube going on there. And, it's just to kind of build an independent platform, not strapped down by any sort of big money sources. We can't be, like you're telling me that Robert can be bought. That's not going to happen. And so we're looking to build a platform with people who are independent, who can say what they need to say. Kind of America, for America, by America. I mean, none of us are jet-setting Soros-funded people. We are all independent. We all do what we want to do, and that's kind of what the whole root of the problem is right here. We all are doing what we want to do.
Sweet. Did you do
Wow.
what you did a website before Freedom Scoop?
Yeah. So I ran the Daily Jake for a few years. It was a moderately successful platform. I mean, we had, I'm going to say 200,000 to 300,000 hits in about a 12-month period. I mean, and that ran for a little while. And before that, I've done media. I've done media for a couple of national and local campaigns. Most of you guys know me just from heckling everybody here on Freedom Scoop, because I jump on with the Generational Gap and I jump on with Edgar and just harass him from time to time. I mean, why not? There's nothing better to do. So, and they're fantastic people. So that's where most of you guys know me from. I have worked with people in the national and local news. I worked with 3 different guys who worked with Fox News. I wrote a couple articles for the Spokesman Review. For a little bit. And I've written for a couple of national publications as well as local publications, but I don't write anymore because I'm allergic to penmanship.
Sweet, man. Well, thanks for the introduction. Let's move over to Edgar now. So, Edgar, you got your own channel and you just started streaming as well. But what are your goals? How'd you get into this mess, and what are your goals for your channel?
Well, I started out on my channel just because I was listening to people like the Daily Wire. I was listening to people like Limbaugh, and I kept hearing these voices that have a lot of big corporate backing behind them. I have actually been writing politically since I was about 15 years old. I wrote my first political article back then, and I gave my first political speech when I was 15 as well. So this has been something that's been a part of my life for a while, and I started to realize, I fell out of it for a little while, but I started to realize again that, my views on the world and individual liberty haven't changed, but the political parties and the political people that carried them have changed. I used to be a very staunch Democrat because I thought that was the party of liberty. And, as I've grown older, I've seen more authoritarianism out of there. And I've seen more people on the right side start to advocate for more freedom, and more people on the left say, hey, we just want to take all of your money and then give you back what we think it takes to live on. In essence, I write about what I see. I put it back into video format after seeing a man from Montana in a flannel shirt was making solo videos as well, and realized that, he wasn't saying the same things I was saying, but he was doing the same style kind of thing as I was writing on a blog, but he was reaching a completely different audience, and I wanted to take some part in that audience. I do still look forward to writing sometimes, but with a full-time job and a channel, doing the podcast and a solo video every week, it gets draining. I don't necessarily get a chance to write anymore as much as I would like to, but that's how I fell into it. And I know.
And he is allergic to penmanship.
I am not allergic to penmanship anymore because
penmanship.
I joined the fountain pen club.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
club for fountain pens?
Absolutely.
Carry on.
There's a club for everything.
I mean, most people who have been with my channel since the beginning know where I started politically and societally. My best friend was about to be lynched by the entire school for saying something that he didn't even say. And I had to stand up and defend him because it was individual liberty versus the mob. And, it started from there, and now we're here.
Nice, man. Didn't you get into doing your channel right after the Parkland shooting?
Yes, when I first got the video camera and the microphone, it was immediately after I had actually bought a microphone before, but I couldn't get it to sync up or do anything at all. So by the time I got everything to work, Parkland had legitimately just happened, which was perfect given the background that started me into politics.
Wow, cool, man. So let's move over to the generational gap now. I figure we start with John because John does the announcements for the show, and I always thought it was funny that Robert, you act like you're always surprised that John needs to do the announcements, like because you say John, why don't you tell me about what's going on? But you know what's going on. That's
Actually,
the show.
a lot of the time
So,
she does.
There's a very
Oh,
good
really?
There's
Yeah.
a very good possibility I have forgotten from one show to the next. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
And not only that, he'll find out about guests at the same time the audience does a lot of the time.
Very often.
Yeah.
So John, what is the generational gap and how did it start?
Well, generational gap, as our little description says, it's a meeting of two minds. One is a reactionary Gen Xer. The other one's a rational and beautiful beard, millennial.
Ad-lib.
And yeah, a little bit ad lib there. But it got started because I wanted to do a podcast for several years now, and my original idea was to do like a history style podcast where I would once a week put out some kind of major thing about some event in history or some war or something like that. But I could just never really put the pieces together. And then I met Robert through his cousin, who's my roommate. And so we would have a lot of like really long and deep political discussions. And we would argue pretty often. And then, as we still do. And we kind of developed this I guess like bickering style relationship. Like people who've been around each other for a long time and they'll just kind of bicker at each other and banter. And I thought that would be fun to bring online, So I approached him one day with the idea, and he was in. So the rest is history.
And so Robert, has there anything changed drastically since the beginning of the show, or do you have any kind of goals for the show going forward that you want to see happen?
Well, I think that we've evolved somewhat. I think both of us have we've both shifted in our views somewhat. Me more so. I think I've shifted more right than I ever intended to, but I was already on that slide, as it were. But yeah, I want to see us. I love bringing on other podcasters. I like this idea that we're working with here with Freedom Scoop, where we have a bunch of individuals. I mean, amongst us, there's a lot of disagreement, but there's a lot of agreement. But the main thing is the understanding that these discussions need to be had, and building a deeper network amongst other new media like this is going to strengthen new media and make it more of a source of real information that speaks to the American people, as opposed to the mainstream media that is speaking to an agenda. That's the hope that I have for it. That's what I hope new media becomes, and I want to be a strong part of that. And deep down, I hope Freedom Scoop is the vehicle by which we can reach that end.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Somebody soundbite that. Oh, and by the way, I may not be able to be bought, but to counter that, I don't know that I've ever heard the right offer either.
Yeah, we've got a couple of people in the chat here. We got Michael Vega, Seawall, the artist showed up, which is cool. Now Steven's gone. Jersey Linda's in the house. Awesome. And now our host is gone. So that's pretty awesome.
Jersey Linda.
He's back.
It's all right, guys.
Jersey Linda. There he is. Is he moving? He's moving. He's moving. He's real. He's alive.
He's a real boy.
Woo. I'm trying to just send out a thing on InstaChat, but I don't do
InstaChat. Is that like a Delmac?
It's kind of like my millennium boomer speak, because I'm kind of like a millennium boomer.
I don't know.
Like a Wii Box 2?
Yeah, there you go. What's a Wii box? What's a Wii? I used to have a Wii. Hey, Steven, let's talk about Wiis. When was the last time you played one?
Oh, man.
That's like the best-selling game console of all time, and nobody knows it.
Yeah. It was very popular.
It is. So,
is Steven actually there?
I don't know.
Yeah, can you hear us, Steven?
I don't know if Steven can hear. Can you hear us, Steven?
Is Steven alive?
I don't think.
I think he's screwing with us.
Steven.
Steven!
Are
you there, Steven? Steven! Where are you, Steven? We need you for the jet!
Oh, man.
All right, I've almost got a post ready for the InstaChat. Next.
Jesus.
Save the picture. I don't know. It's like Twitter, but it's not. You post pictures on it.
So
it's somewhere between Instagram and Snapchat. And
you know what? I believe that's what it actually is. It's Instagram. All right. So, Steven, quit messaging me.
Yeah,
all right. Next.
Steven's saying sorry, guys.
He wants to be your friend. So, in the interim, while we're waiting on Steven to get back, because I'm assuming, and I am probably right about this, the next thing. It doesn't sound like he can hear us, though. He's lost.
He's like feigning hanging himself, it looks like.
So,
Epstein style.
Lean
forward.
No.
So I would say that the next thing that he was going to move on to was reaching up to Wyatt and reaching out to Wyatt. So Wyatt, same thing to you. If you could give everybody an idea of how you got to the point where you're at and where you're going and what you're hoping for from your life in new media.
Yeah, so I've been on all of your channels actually, and I've kind of told the story multiple times. But the project, it was a project really at the start from a school. My school had this project called a CAST project, which essentially was like community service type of orient, and you had to do something long term. And I decided that I would do something YouTube related. So originally the content was supposed to be more like broader subjects like mental health or philosophy, those type of notions, and not really be too political. But since I followed politics and I'm always interested in politics, I try to push the boundaries a little bit with what they would allow. And I did that a lot with like the questions of the days I've done before. And as of now, they're a little bit random. I'm trying to get more consistent with that. But so the channel as a whole was originally projects to talk about more philosophy and broader subjects like I mentioned, and now I've kind of turned it into more talking about like politics. I want to go back to like mental health and philosophy a little bit too, because I do like those topics and I think they need to be talked about more, especially mental health. And I'm in the middle of writing a article for Freedom's Group, and I hope to finish it today. My original goal was to finish it the day before, but the power went out for a couple of hours. That didn't happen. Lucky me. I think there was a lot of karma what goes into that. But
Yeah, I hope
anyway.
you saved your work before you lost power.
Yeah, I was happy I was able to do the stream.
Are you
the power
burning up down there, Wyatt? Are you like where you're gonna get caught on fire any minute, or like do we need to evacuate you, or are you just in an area that loses power?
No, we're just in the area what uses power. Like anytime there's like or a thunderstorm, the power is gonna go out. It's almost every time that happens. And we had
Yeah, I
a
hear
crazy
ya.
one.
I've got a similar thing. I'm on the same power grid as the hospital, so when they need extra power,
They
we
cut
lose
yours
power.
off.
For
Yeah.
like
They
a
shut
split
you
second.
down.
Just for a split second, but it's enough to shut down the stream, or shut my part of the stream down at least.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So-
usually that's the good part.
No, the good part is after a hurricane, we're one of the first to get power back because the hospital needs the power back.
Needs
Right.
the power. Yeah.
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 All right, so I just
Steven's back.
since
Yay.
Steven's kind of skeptical, I shot a post out on InstaChat for the generational gap with
Thank
a
you.
link, but I couldn't figure
thank
out
you,
if
Jersey Linda. We love you too.
Ed was on the InstaChat. Ed, are you on the InstaChat?
Yeah. I follow you.
Oh, are you? You follow me on the InstaChat?
Yes.
What's InstaChat?
Are you on the picture talkies there, son? Are you on the picture talkies?
Are you on the well online?
I don't know what that is. What is InstaChat?
It's like it's the gram, Holmes.
oh, Instagram.
Are you not on the grams?
I'm on the ounce, bro.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you gotta
Pushing
jump
weight.
in.
See, once upon a time, Instagram was the guy you could go down to the corner and get your powder from.
I
They
would
just called him Instagram.
I've
Yeah.
had this idea for years that there should be like a weed social media and call it Twistagram.
Oh, dude, the
Twistagram.
Silk Road.
Oh,
The
sweet.
Silk Road.
No, oh yeah, you're right.
The Silk Road. Yeah, it's not really a social media site, but I mean,
No.
it can get pretty social, I imagine.
Yeah. So sorry about my internet, y'all. I knew this was gonna happen on. It's just my first night at the new place, so we can
Yeah.
carry on. But I caught the tail end of Robert introducing Wyatt, and I appreciate that. So if I drop out again, then Robert will be,
Oh, shut the fuck up! I don't
He's
even know why
the
we're here.
co-chair.
Oh, dude, Dan Abbo has graced our chat. That's awesome.
Oh,
Robert.
Dan Abbo's in here.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun in your
Hey,
chat.
Governor Abbott.
Yeah, yeah.
Greg Abbott of Texas.
Abbott.
Yeah, Governor
So-
Abbott is here. I like Governor Abbott.
So how did I don't know who wants to start this or whatever, but who is the first person to meet another person from this six? Like, how did this actually start?
I
Like,
met Ed. He's the one who taught me how to use OBS, and then I
Okay.
made Robert learn how to use it all on his
Okay.
own. So that's how that happened.
So
And Jake has been following me for quite a while, ever since back when it was Culture Club was still coming out.
Okay, so originally I wanted to do a subscription podcast service. It was kind of my original idea for Freedom Scoop. I said, you know what? There's so many of these guys who are making, these pathways, and I said, for $10 a month, if I had like unlimited streams, if I could get like 50 guys together to just start streaming, and for $10 a month, you could have as many as you wanted. And they'd be high quality and they'd be well produced because you'd have a little bit of financial backing because, da-da-da. Anyways, so that was my plan. And then I met Ed, and I started talking, and I started following him because he was a He was a very attractive individual. And I learned, hey, people don't like to pay for Ed. So I said, fine, it's free.
Contrary to his last career.
So I made it free. And then I was like, well, it is free. So it's freedom. And it's freedom scoop. So no, it's like that scoop of ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, everybody needs 2 scoops. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
I will not do.
so I said, okay. So that was the Cloture Club thing that Ed said. It was originally going to be the final word, the Cloture Club. And it was going to be this exclusive group, and it kind of morphed into this more friendly thing. We've got more of a close knit group of people. Yeah, and it's kind of weird because some of us have beards, and
in fact, most of us have beards.
most of us, the majority.
Yeah. So we get to vote away each other's freedom, right? That's how democracy works.
That's right.
That is democracy, mob rule.
So Wyatt, I remember you hit me up, I think a year and a half or like a year ago or something like that, after I called into the Beauty and the Beta call-in show, and I never hit you back. And then you appeared on my show, but doesn't most of the people here listen to Beauty and the Beta? Like, Jake, do you listen to Beauty and the Beta?
No, but I live near Matt, so I just don't listen to him. I can hear him from my house. If I step outside, I hear the show.
Yeah.
But is that how you got in touch with me, Wyatt?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, okay.
As far as Steven goes, I know I got in Generational Gap through Ed because he mentioned their channel, and I think I found Ed through random YouTube discovery, I would say, and then I saw that he had a Twitter. I don't think it was. I'm not exactly sure how I found Ed, but I know that he led me to the Generational Gap.
No one's ever sure how they found Ed. So.
Yeah,
It was a drunken night, and I don't really want to talk about it. Thank you very much. Next question.
Yeah, I mean, I know, John, you were my, I think, 8th subscriber, right?
Subscriber, yeah.
Dude,
but I
that's
don't
so
remember
good.
how I found your channel.
Subscriber?
I hit you up, dude.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. I remember because I remember hearing you call in or super chat into Beauty and the Beta.
Did that actually work?
And saying you guys had a show, and I think I hit you up to be on mine early. In December. So I think I hit you up, and
You might have.
Yeah, and I remember because I remember your screen name.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to forget, yeah.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, so Ed and I kind of did our thing, but then the Gen Gap jumped on. So I kind of found you guys all through each other, but it was all individually too. So what I'm trying to figure out is when Ed and the Gen Gap, when did you guys connect? Was that when I connected?
I connected with John because John had asked me how to get a video setup started, and he's actually using my old microphone.
Yeah, the exact same one he recommended this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Mine
in the
burnt out
Discord.
already.
Yeah, it was in the Discord server for Beauty and the Beta.
I have to say, in this group, I believe Ed qualifies as the Kevin Bacon. I think he is the Kevin Bacon.
He slept with everyone, but nobody remembers his name.
Right. We just all showed up for a beer one day, and it's like, who are you?
And suddenly my buckle hurts. I don't know.
Sausage, or.
And why are you wearing Ed's t-shirt?
Oh, Bacon. That's his name, Bacon.
Bacon. Yeah.
Bacon.
Ed Bacon.
Man, I want bacon.
Now I'm hungry.
Man. Ed, that should be your new Twitter handle, Ed Bacon.
Ed.
No, I actually know somebody with that name, so I couldn't do that.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And so so I'm in DC, and Edgar, you're in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Jake, you're in Montana.
I'm in Matt Christensen's backyard right now.
It's all
That's why I have the
Montana.
burlap up. It's hiding
And
his
then-
house.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Don't
like
wanna
your
dox
Dexter
him.
sheet. Yeah, your splatter
Yeah.
sheet. You
This
guys
is
are-
Halloween.
It's advanced stalking.
Yeah.
And
I don't know
so-
if you guys have seen me before, but I've drastically upgraded this production. The problem is my Wi-Fi tomorrow or so I should have a hard line ran in here, but you guys are a day early, so sorry.
Maybe you're, I don't know, a day late.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that could happen. Could happen. I was actually preparing for the Halloween stream that we're going to be doing with the
Nice.
Gen Gap. So yeah, so I was like, oh, I got to
Oh,
run
yeah,
a
we're
hard
doing
line
one of
in here
those.
before Halloween for the spooktacular event.
Dude, do you wanna
yeah.
do you wanna run one to me? I think I might need one. By the
Yeah,
way.
maybe. I know that might be some money. You know, I
Run-
just heard an interesting story you might like, Steven. Okay, so there's some stock traders in New York. I don't know how true this is. I think it was called the Hummingbird Project or something. Somebody told me about it. It might be a movie. Have you guys heard about this?
That's a good
No.
movie.
Yeah, lay it on us.
Okay. So apparently there was some stock traders in New York who decided that they wanted to build a really high-powered, what do you call that? What's that? Fiber optic line from Kansas City to New York City. Yeah, that epic journey. Okay, and some other guy was like, we can't dig tunnels faster than them. So instead, we're going to build cell phone towers and we're going to send radio signals. And then somebody else was like, radio signals are slower than fiber optic, so you're actually going to lose out. And they said, by how much? And they were like, by 0.2 milliseconds. Well, apparently 0.2 milliseconds is worth like $5 million
Yeah,
every
millions of
millisecond.
dollars.
Yeah, every millisecond. So they said, fine, we're doing it anyways. So they decided to run these high-powered cell phone communications towers, which they built faster than the guys who dug under. Apparently, this is a true story. It's on I think it's on Netflix or
I've
something.
heard
I
of
haven't
this
watched
before. Yeah.
It was on
Yeah.
the internet. It must be true.
Yeah. So the thing was the guys who were running the fiber optic line had so many easements and right of ways to buy and land, and then they hit Amish land, and the Amish were like, "Nope, you can't run your line through our property." And they were like, "We can run it 150 feet under your property." So, anyways, they ended up winning. But by the time they got to New York, they bankrupted, and the guys with the cell phone towers were actually slower by 0.2 milliseconds, but they got to New York faster, and they made all the money. So the moral of the story: have fast internet.
Yeah, fair enough.
That is
I don't
smart.
know. Yeah, so I don't know. So maybe you need a cell phone tower, Steven.
Yeah,
need
just
something.
get one of those.
Do you know of any, like, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Me
See, they got
Do you have to
everything's for sale,
purchase
yo.
it?
Make a
Everything's for
deal
sale
with
in DC.
AT&T.
Do they have those
Look-
at Harbor
look on-
Freight?
Look on Wish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. You can get it for like $6.
It's like $6 for a cell tower, $800 for delivery, and it'll
For
be here
shipping, yeah.
in 72 months.
Yeah.
2 months because it's going through FedEx.
And custom.
$5 cell phone tower, $2 anonymous mask. Yours, like for you.
Oh my god, yeah.
All right, we're done, guys. Let's get out of here. That's all we got.
Yeah, we're all
Wow,
demonetized now.
that was so easy.
So I have some questions prepared, and I feel like we should answer them. The one I'm going to do
Weird.
first, I was going to save to the end, but let's do it right now. Let's go around in order. And what is the skill or two that each of you have that would benefit you and others in the apocalypse? Let's start with Wyatt. What apocalypse ready skills do you have, Wyatt?
Well, it's know how to use a chainsaw. I think that would help quite well.
Yes, that's good.
And then second skill would probably be I don't know if would be a broader topic, but like general survival skills. I feel like I have a good understanding of that.
Good.
Like I have a what is it called? Like water conservation or water pump. That's what it was.
Nice.
To make the pond water into clean water or whatever, like the life straw type of concept.
Nice.
So I feel like that would help a lot too.
That's good. That's a good one. What about you, Robert?
Let's see. First, I can feed myself. I have excellent gardening and farming skills.
I thought you meant like
So-
literally just like
No, outside the normal basic stuff. No, I have farming skills. I grew up on a farm. I know how to grow plants. I know how to handle that kind of stuff. And the second would be I place no value on human life. So I think that's a pretty important skill to have in an apocalyptic setting. So
good. I like that. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty good with the sword. Pretty much any kind of sword you want to put in my hand, I can use it. And I've got a charming personality,
Nice.
so no one want to mess with that,
That's good.
Yeah, no, everyone wants that around, right?
That's gonna deteriorate fast, though.
Yeah,
You
probably.
become your worst self very quick in the apocalypse.
Well, it means I'll just be extra charming.
J. Edgar?
I fix things. You see it in my Instagram feed. Plus, I do know how to garden to an extent, and I cook. So, bring me
That's
the
good.
raw meat, and I will cook it back up for you. And you will elect me the leader of your tribe.
Let me. I have a question about merging those skills. Can you really cook something on an engine block and make it be okay?
If it gets hot enough,
Is it?
it usually gets about 212 degrees. So,
Yeah, just come to Florida. You can cook on the
That's a
sidewalk. It'll be
boiling
fine.
point there, yeah.
It just takes longer to cook. Man, makes some of the best steamed fish on an engine block I've ever had.
I bet you could cook a pretty mean salad on an engine block, regardless of temperature.
Probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
and,
man.
and just get a little antifreeze you don't even need the vinegar and oil.
But I don't eat rabbit food.
Right, that's the food that my food eats.
Right. I was just going to say, technically, if you do you eat rabbit? That
Yeah.
covers the rabbit food.
Maybe.
Salads are good, yo. What are you guys talking about?
That's why he lives in
I mean,
DC, and the
I
rest of
kinda
us don't.
Yeah.
I kind of like
Oh.
guys.
You must have moved to the West Coast.
I think I'd be the most screwed in the apocalypse. I tend to have a charming personality as well. You know, I'm a good musician, so you know I could entertain people.
Entertain the zombies.
Hey, every party needs a good bard,
that's
But
right.
dude, I want to be a bard. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
Awesome. Just get
When
yourself
I
a
grow
loot.
up,
You'll be
I
good.
want to be famous, want to be a star, I want to be on movies.
But you know, to be honest, if the apocalypse hit tomorrow, I would probably have to start working on my sexual skills.
I'm usually just to lay there though, kind
Yeah.
of lay there and try not to talk too much. It's really all you have to do.
Yeah, but I can get really annoying. So that's not the guy you want around during the apocalypse. Dude, shut the fuck up.
So my skills are I have all of you guys, and I live in Montana. So I'd just buy you guys plane tickets.
But the
We'd
plane's
be
been
fine.
grounded.
I heard you can build
Nope.
a lean-to, so.
Well, I mean,
I've got a friend of mine that lives in Louisiana, and he has Carol Shelby's plane. So if we could just get you guys all to Louisiana somehow, then we could just throw you on Carol Shelby's plane.
It would be closer
there
for
you
me
go.
to walk to
Well,
you
It's only-
from where I am.
I've got 45 hours in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I could probably figure
Hey.
it out.
There's a skill.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't trust John.
No, ever.
Don't ever trust them.
I will say that living in DC and the rent being high, I have a good amount of fiat currency that I can convert into things that you will need, but I have to time it before the apocalypse. I have to time it at the right time because once the dollar crashes, I don't have much.
Yeah.
I have a lot of speakers.
Do you have any rubles?
I have a lot of copper wire. I have a lot of mic cables.
There you go.
Like
Just fishing here. Yeah.
rubles. What else do we want? Chinese yen. Maybe some baht. What was that? Taiwan or somewhere over there? Baht.
Hold on, the Chinese don't use yen.
Oh, yuan.
It's yuan or
Yuan.
yuan or something.
Yuan?
They don't have any
Yuan.
money.
Some
I
shit
thought
like
yuan was from Mexico, so I don't know anything.
that.
They're human.
Demonetized.
Yeah, they were human trafficking Mexicans, so now they trade in Juan.
Yuan.
Just one.
I thought they were human
How much does he
trafficking
cost?
Africans.
Juan.
Just one.
Juan costs yuan.
So next question is I wanted to talk a little bit about like 2020 and just general politics. So Jake, what do you think are the two main issues for you? I mean, there's a lot of issues facing the country, the world, and things like that. But if you had to pick two, Jake, that are your biggest, voting sticking points or ideas that you're thinking about, what would you pick?
I hate taxes.
Oh, they're the worst.
Yeah.
So if
Oh,
somebody
my
says, "Hey,
God.
I'm going to lower taxes," I'm like, "I'll vote for you."
What
Like,
if somebody says
That's how they get
taxation
you.
is theft?
There
well,
you go.
then I say, "Yeah, but
Oh,
It's
I do.
certainly
Everything
something.
after the butt.
yeah.
I do. No. I think that I think that we need maybe like a universal sales tax or something like that over income tax. I don't agree with income tax. Income tax was intended to be abolished,
Yeah.
and it never was after World War II.
No
So,
way.
Yeah,
I
no, who
know.
wants to make less money?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, something with like income tax would be fine. But I would say lower taxation and private property rights. I think private property rights are right now they're under the biggest assault that they've been under in a generation or more. I mean, when it comes to uh, your right to own and possess certain things. I mean, that carries on over into the Second Amendment. When people start saying, "Oh, you can't own a gun," well, yeah, sure, that's a Second Amendment issue, but that's a private property right. That gives you. They're trying to take your personal belongings and tell you what you can and can't own, how you can and can't use what you own. Um, yeah, I mean, and so I'm a big advocate of private property rights and low taxes, and those are my two big issues for 2020.
What about
Yep.
you, J. Edgar?
Less government and less laws. Those are my two big ones coming into this. I actually, because when I was on your show the first time, we talked about a platform that I would run on if I were to run for Senate, because I actually had planned on doing it in 18 before my ex left me and I didn't know where I was going to be living come election time. I would go on a platform if I ran for Senate in this state of going to Washington and repealing as many laws as I possibly can and let them all fall to the states. The federal government was never intended to have as much power as it was or as it currently has, and it was only supposed to be for interstate commerce and keeping the standing military. And now we have this nanny state and half the country wants more.
Sorry, I'm just looking at Robert's OBS skills
Yeah,
over here. Are
man,
you
he's-
watching this,
he's killing it.
Jagger?
No.
He's
Naming us all.
he's naming us all live with these bottom thirds. And shit. I
Oh,
didn't know
no,
what
I-
a bottom third until right now, but
I can't see that
let's,
because I'm watching my
what-
stream.
Oh, okay. What about? Oh yeah, you're streaming it too. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, that's yeah. What about you, Wyatt? What are the two biggest issues, political or otherwise, for you?
I would say my two the biggest issues, and Jake kind of hinted at one, but that would be gun control or the Second Amendment, essentially, and then abortion is always a topic I want to see
Hey,
what all the candidates are saying about, because I'm
Jersey Linda
pro-life
says
myself.
Steven isn't streaming, just so you guys know. Sorry to
Yeah, we
interrupt
know.
you, Wyatt.
Yeah,
No,
we
you're
know.
fine.
Oh.
You're fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just
okay.
answering the chat too.
I just
so when
wanted
interrupt,
to
Jake.
I just wanted to interrupt
How
Wyatt.
rude. Now Wyatt gets an
know.
extra 45 seconds.
Oh man,
Point
Keep
of
going,
personal
bud. Yeah,
privilege.
keep going.
Point of personal
Yes.
privilege.
So it's like I'll just go overtime,
Yeah.
The monitors can't stop me. No. No, so like Christians always get called like shoot, I just lost what it was, but essentially they only focus on one thing. What's the term for it? One issue voter. That's it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the abortion for me with being pro-life, and then with the gun control, that's just a big thing because as soon as that gets taken away, if it does, that's going to lead to many other problems, and we already have kind of been seeing. And like, I guess if you have a third one, it's general like civil rights. Because I saw Steven stream talking about the 7-year-old in Dallas who was getting the mom and dad court battle, which you're probably all aware. It's like I don't know what would be called under, but that's just something what just shouldn't ever happen. It's very almost disturbing. So I'm not sure like which. What that would be called?
Straight
but
up
that's another
morality.
issue.
Yeah.
Straight up
absolutely.
morality. Yeah. Ethics, morality. Like that's just straight right and wrong as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. I don't know how you could even. I don't know. It's like people do make the argument that that's okay on the opposing side, but I don't know how you make it. Like a 7-8-year-old like I don't know. It's hard to even talk about.
Yeah.
Yep. What about you, John?
I'm gonna go with the First and Fourth Amendments as my two. I think those are the most under attack. Even though the Second Amendment has been for a while, it's still been holding up pretty solidly for a while. But
Yep.
the First Amendment is definitely under attack, and the Fourth has been just destroyed, absolutely destroyed.
They renewed the
So
Patriot
I
Act
think,
just the other day.
Really?
yeah, we
Yep.
talked about that on your show, Ed. Right?
Yep.
Oh no.
Yeah.
After
Yeah,
Rand
that
Paul
means we're-
filibustered for it.
So that
Tried.
means we're
Or
a more
against it.
patriotic place, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's exactly what it means. Yeah, the Freedom Through Restriction Act.
So First and Fourth Amendment for you, John. What about Robert?
The two biggest issues in the country for me right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say political divisiveness and cultural divisiveness. I know the two could be seen as, under one umbrella of divisiveness, but the two are counter to each other at the same time, feeding off each other. But ultimately, I think the divisiveness of both weakens us as a country. It weakens us as a global figure. It weakens us in the power we can wield in negotiations, whether it be economically, whether it be politically, diplomatically. It's a weakness that we don't need. And if we can't figure out how to cure both of those, I think it's going to be our downfall at some point. But on a happier note,
Yeah.
Halloween's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine is candy for all kids. But my two are basically immigration and freedom of association. I think that I guess immigration gets talked about a lot, but the issue of being able to associate with who you want, I think it's very underappreciated. Because freedom of speech and right to bear arms gets brought up all the time. Privacy, basically privacy shit on at this point, and
Yeah.
I think also the Second Amendment is pretty much shit on. I don't think it's going to get repealed, but they don't even have to repeal it. They just have to pass enough laws to make it not matter anymore, which I think has pretty much been done for a while.
Yeah.
The Overton window has shifted so much on that one that people don't realize that every gun law is infringement on the Second Amendment, and they don't even associate the two. But I just think the idea of being able to hire, fire, be friends with whoever you want, sit at the lunch table. I mean, I honestly think that most issues can be seen through the lens of a high school cafeteria. There's bullying. There's, you don't get to sit here, and at the high school cafeteria, they don't make you sit together, at least anyone that I've ever seen. But you can't even choose who you think is a good person, or you're not really allowed to one side, I don't even mean right and left, but some people are allowed to ostracize some people are not allowed to say shit about another group. And it's not the obvious ones too. It's not just racial or gay, straight. It's all kinds of stuff. I can't just look at a person and say, I don't like you, we will not hang. But some people can, and it makes no sense. So just freedom of association is a thing I talk about all the time. And just, I'm as close to a one issue thing on immigration as I can be. I think that even though Trump isn't strong enough on immigration for me, but at least at least he talks about it. So immigration is a nation's not a nation without its borders, and we got to sew that up, or it's gonna fall. So I don't know. That's kind of my shit.
Bar the doors.
Yeah, I mean, I came to a lot of these conclusions while doing my stream.
Just make a door, like at least maybe just one door,
some sort of
right
physical
now,
barrier that
we have like nothing. It's like we don't even have a wall to put a door in.
Now,
Well, we just
Jake,
put the door first, and then there's people will start going through there, right?
Jake, I'm
That's what you
curious.
do when you see a door.
Do you deal with a lot of border tensions up north, where you're at, Jake?
So
I'm
you'd
sure
actually
that gets
be
pretty tough for you up there.
You'd be surprised. We have we're right on the border of Canada. I mean, literally, like I can drive to Canada in 30 minutes. So there are a lot of people who cross. Like I don't know. I want to say 6 months ago or something. Some Iranian immigrant guy was caught in one of the national parks attempting to hike from Canada into the U.S., no passport, no visa. He'd been kicked out of the U.S. once or twice already. So we do get a lot of that. I mean, but I'll tell you what, if the Mexican border is anything like the U.S. border, or the Canadian border, then there is a fair amount of security that we don't, I know you saw that. That was like a Freudian slip there. The Mexican border is like the U.S. border there.
I was laughing at Steven's comment.
Oh, well, fine. We only have one border, and that's really to the north right now, and that's our problem. But there are Border Patrol all over the place up here. I mean, I see them daily. I see Border Patrol daily. Most of them just wave at me and go get McDonald's because, we're not keeping Canadians out. We want them in here. But they're all poor right now. Trump made Canada poor. So if you ask Canadians, that's what they think.
Are they the Mounties? Do they have Mounties over there in Montana?
They're riding moose all the time, but so are the Montanians, so it's all right.
So we go to Canada a lot for, like, lunch. Just because it's weird.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. I drive to Canada for lunch.
You still need a passport to get in there?
You do now. So a few years ago, I'm going to say maybe, it's probably been 10 years now. 10 years ago, you didn't need a passport. You didn't need anything. You could just drive up with your driver's license. You show them your license. You drive into Canada. But now you need a passport. It's a little bit more complicated. They are more strict coming back from Canada than going into Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's your business in Canada, man?
Yeah. So we went to Calgary, Alberta, and went to the zoo maybe 10 years ago. And I remember we were coming back, and my mother had a McDonald's hamburger on the dash, and they freaked out. And it was the American Border Patrol. They were like, you can't bring that hamburger in. And my mom said, why? And they said, well, because it's beef. And my mom says, well, it's McDonald's. We don't know if it's beef or not. And so she had to eat it really fast. And I said, so you're still going to bring it into the States, but it's in your stomach, so I guess it's okay if it's in your stomach.
Yeah, bureaucracy is great.
Yeah. So apparently they were worried about, like, mad cow disease or something, I believe. I think that's what they were worried about. But, yeah, it's harder to get back in than it is to get out. I mean, they'll let you in, no problem. Canadians don't mind. But the biggest problem right now is the Canada's economy is garbage right now up there because the oil prices are so low. And so all these Canadians, see the Saudis driving all their rich cars. That's kind of how it is up here. I mean, the Canadians buy their second and third homes.
Wow.
We have whole communities of just Canadians. I mean, if you go out here in the summertime, half the people are Canadian.
They're up to something, man. I'm telling you.
They're really well to do.
South, and it's really them. It's really the Canadians.
I don't know if you guys know this, but in Calgary, have you seen, like, Millionaire Row or Billionaire Row in, like, London or New York? All these places. Mm-hmm. The Billionaire Row in Calgary for all the oil barons is called America Hill or American Hill.
That's funny.
So yeah, you can Google it. It's pretty cool, and they're all these oil-rich guys that have made billions, and it's really nuts. It's a whole nother world up there. I mean, because of the amount of money that's in the oil right there. Yeah, I mean, I remember in the recession, our entire economy was based off of Canadians coming down, spending their money here, and all of us, we went to work in the Bakken over in North Dakota to the oil fields there. So yeah, I mean, we couldn't go to Canada and work. They just came here and spent their money. So yeah, that was what kept us alive, was oil money, and we're 500 miles from the nearest oil patch. So it's crazy. It's really nuts.
So do you have a lot of loonies and toonies?
I get a lot of Canadian pennies, which are pretty much worthless.
What are those two things
they don't make those
said?
anymore.
That's their currency up there.
That's the name of the two leaders of Canada, Looney and
and Blackie.
Yeah.
Justin
and demonetized.
Wow.
Justin Aladdin.
You're only saying that because you're not on your channel.
Dude, I talk way worse on my channel.
So I don't know if you guys saw, but yesterday I posted a tweet and I said, I'm thinking of going to Justin Trudeau for Halloween. I'm going as him, but I can't decide what shade of shoe polish I should wear.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And then, so I have like this whole, I have like 4 or 5 of them that I wrote up, so I'm publishing them one a day. Like, but today's was kind of lame. It's just I can't decide. I can't figure out what Ralph Northam is going to go for as a Halloween character. I can't decide if he's going to go as a ghost or Michael Jackson. So.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is Thriller.
I saw that one.
Takes a few seconds to sink in because you realize that he was dressed as a ghost. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. What else would it be?
I don't know. I don't
Must
know.
have been a ghost.
Do you think Northam's gonna quit someday?
No.
Anybody?
No.
No, we
Not-
just
not
think
after
he's gonna
Different
perpetually.
rules, yo.
Yeah.
He'll retire.
I wanna
He'll
just-
retire when he gets to retirement age.
I'll be fine with that as long as he moonwalks. Like if I get to see a moonwalk on stage, fine, stay in office. I'll vote for you. That's my
fair.
requirement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the thing? He moonwalked. He did like an impression.
Mm-hmm.
No, he started to when his wife stopped him.
Mm-hmm. He was like, "Whoa, hold up, Ralph. I know you think you're Michael. I know when you put on that makeup, you look like Michael. You know what? That's
Oh,
crazy
man.
too. Have you ever seen Michael Jackson's kids? They're all white.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
how did that work?
white. He was white at the end, so.
Jackson was like when he was a kid, he was a cute little black kid, and he grew up into a weird
Into a white
middle-aged
woman.
woman.
Yeah, he did.
Selective genetics.
Yeah.
So how did the middle-aged white woman turn? How did she have 3 white kids?
Michael Jackson was CRISPR before CRISPR was cool. He
We
had
don't
somebody
get that
work the
reference,
DNA.
Yeah,
Robert.
I think you're showing your
CRISPR,
age.
the genetic. No, it's the current genetic
Gene editing. I know what it is.
gene editing tool. CRISPR.
Gene
They do it in
editing,
China.
okay.
They edit
You
the
know,
genes.
it's okay,
Others
Steven.
do.
You don't have to defend Robert.
Is this like a GMO thing?
Like-
Sorry.
No, it's the gene editing tool
Straight up
that
gene
was
editing,
that's sprang from stem cell research.
I thought CRISPR was Jerome Jackson's nickname.
I don't get it.
Hmm.
Nobody gets Robert. You don't
I
even
kinda
get that.
get it.
Oh,
Jerome
man.
Jackson. Wait,
Yeah, you remember
oh
Jerome.
my God, that's just.
I don't want to say because I don't want to get our channel
Turn,
banned.
you have to
Yeah.
turn your
Yeah, I
camera
was gonna say,
your
wasn't he
camera
like the-
off. You have to turn your
Ban, Jake.
camera off for that, Jake.
Jake's
I'm taking
been
your
banished.
name away.
Yeah.
Jake's name is. You don't get a name.
I just don't know who Jerome Jackson is.
What?
I think he
Really?
was like the second
know.
brother.
Jackson 5.
He was the second most popular brother,
Oh, dude.
behind Latoya.
Latoya.
He took the brunt of the beatings the other ones weren't getting.
Hey,
These are really funny jokes. You guys just aren't old enough.
I'm older than you are.
I hear that all the time. Hey, Robert, real quick.
how
just a
old-
little on-air production. Can you put our links in the chat and the description real quick?
No, I
Everyone else, I
can't,
guess?
but you can.
Oh, okay. Damn it, I can.
Everybody asks how old I am, and I don't know how to
Fine.
answer that.
Fine.
I can, but I'm so lazy.
Oh, well then do it.
Whoa.
'cause You have them already.
I'm
Just
busy
watch
running
J.
a
Edgar take
production
his
here,
head
sir.
off.
It's fine.
We were sitting here watching the same thing we watch when we're on the generational gap. An old codger and a young kid fighting back and forth.
It's true, just bickering, yeah. That's half the show at least.
Hey, has Wyatt got his 4 minutes in yet?
He's at 2:47.
Oh, Wyatt, you better hurry. Say
We
something.
cut his mic, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know the song from the Lollipop Guild?
Wyatt's like, who's Michael Jackson?
Nah, no, Michael Jackson.
Yo, Wyatt, are you close to the border down there?
About like 5 hours away.
Oh, okay. So no.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
Texas
Is it
massive.
Texas time? Like,
He's on
It's
the
just
same time as I
Central
am, so.
time, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's in like all time zones. Texas
For
is
Steven,
massive.
5-6 hours is across town.
Yeah.
Shit, in Michigan, we used to drive that all the time. That ain't that bad. 14 is when you start to get sleepy.
That
Yeah.
that might get you across Montana. 14 if you're going fast.
Are you
Yeah,
serious? You're kidding.
Oh yeah.
No,
guess
he's not
what?
kidding. I've long hauled
I
it
drove-
before.
I
Yep.
drove to New Orleans in about 9.5 hours
That's
from
legit.
Orlando. Yeah, it was pretty easy.
Did you did I see in the chat earlier that Trump's going to be in Florida next week or something like that?
I saw that in the
That's what-
Discord between the two of them. It's like $10,000
Yeah.
a plate.
I
Yeah,
couldn't find
you
it
know,
on Google though. I googled it.
10
I think
Gs?
Robert was just full of shit.
About what?
I think is what happened.
everything.
Oh, but you think?
Why are you taking my name in vain?
All right. Let's tighten up here. All right, let's move on to our next question. Okay. Just like we said, two big issues facing the country. Let's talk about 2020 for a little bit. I mean, because we all do kind of political shows, and we get into philosophy and culture and stuff too. But as far as politics, if you had to vote right now, who would you vote for, and who is your second place? Like if the person you're talking about dropped out or dropped dead today, who would you vote for? Let's go with Wyatt first.
Oh, that's
Or I
a
can go
tricky
first.
question.
Or I can go first.
I mean, I could tell you the two names, but I'm not really sure if I would vote for any of them if I had the choice. Even
Yeah, you have to pick someone. You can't say no one.
yeah, if I had to pick someone, it would probably be Andrew Yang, just because I think he's the most reasonable out of all. Because I mean, I like Tulsi Gabbard's stance on war, but every other stance she has politically is a little more left, and I'm willing to go as far as like social concerns. What Tulsi has, so like if I had to pick someone, it would probably be Andrew Yang, just because I feel like he's the most at least reasonable thinker out of the bunch.
And so you said Yang or Tulsi?
Yeah, that would probably be my top two.
Interesting. Okay, so Robert?
Oh God, I don't.
Like, okay,
I
so
don't
first of
even-
all, before
I don't even want to have to make a decision, right? Like
Before-
a fictional decision, right?
before
now.
you say it, it's like I if I were guessing, I would say for all six of us, there's a certain element of not voting. I'm not saying it's an option, but you kind of don't want to vote for anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
like none of us love government, right?
Abolish the federal government. That's my vote.
Like
Robert loves government.
None of the six of us love government, correct?
I would.
I
vote
don't.
for
I don't love
Trotsky.
the government. I understand.
Trotsky, anybody Trotsky? Can I get a vote for Trotsky?
I don't love the government, but I understand the inherent necessity of having some government there. I mean, I know that you can't have a civilization without it. Otherwise, it's just the kind of anarchy that Ed wants.
You're absolutely right. I can't even
Right?
deny that.
I mean, right, and I don't want to have to get up and start my day with just having to kill a bunch of people. I mean, that's not how I want to live my life. I want just kind of just relaxed stuff. So, but no, if I had to choose, it's really a tight toss-up between Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders, only from the standpoint that I think Bernie Sanders' socialist mindset will be tamed down some if he were to go into office. I think that Congress and Senate could control him, enough. I don't know. Hopefully, but I don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot anyway, because I don't think the Democrats are going to have their own voice, no matter who would get voted in if they did.
Are they controlling Trump? That's Bernie's very old, but I see what you're saying for sure. But
Bernie Trump ticket.
Yeah, it's like
so funny.
That would I've seen people talk about it before as a joke, but that would literally be the funniest thing ever.
But it totally makes sense, though. I mean, seriously, if you think about it, why did people vote for Trump? Well, because we want kind of more freedoms and more independence. Whereas Bernie is saying, I want you to be free. I want you to be independent. I also want you to be paying me 70% of your income. I mean, realistically, that's why I think a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, I like Bernie because Bernie says, do what you want, be free, but give me lots of money. And I'm like, nah, I don't like to give anybody money. Like, the electric company has to squeeze money out of me every month. So that's pretty much it.
But I mean, to Bernie's credit, out of all of them, he may seem like real candidate. Like he actually believes what he's saying. A lot of people
It's easy to believe when you're giving stuff away. Like, I
Yeah.
really believe that J. Edgar should have a super yacht.
I second that
believe
opinion.
I believe
only if I'm invited.
Okay, I believe that you should have a yacht too, and you guys should have
No, I
race.
don't want the yacht because that's expensive to maintain.
Look,
Yeah.
look, I believe
I
that Bernie
want to
Sanders
know the guy
should
that's
pay
got the
for a
boat.
yacht.
I don't want to be the one that has the boat. That's
Yeah,
an
well,
arrogant
see,
idea.
that's what I mean. So my point is it's when you're giving stuff away, other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty easy
Pretty easy.
to say, oh man, I genuinely want to get people in California out of poverty.
Well,
Okay,
super yachts are a human right, I heard.
they are, but I don't believe
The
that
80th Amendment.
Gavin
Yeah.
Newsom wanting to control my water and tax the crap out of me is the way to get people out of poverty in California. I
Yeah.
think reducing taxes, increasing the right, the ability to work programs that they have, or just eliminating all these freaking stipulations. Like the cannabis industry in California right now is hemorrhaging because of the stipulations that they put on it, and it should be booming, and it's not.
I'd like to correct that statement. One cannabis industry in California is hemorrhaging. Another one is booming.
Yeah, the legal cannabis industry is hemorrhaging.
I don't know that.
I've not heard anything about that.
It's tanking. Okay. So they're saying that it's operating at about 30% of what its market should be.
It's because you can grow your own.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
all
think that's a problem.
regulations-
It's not a
Well,
problem.
Yeah, that's not a
regulations.
problem at all.
The regulations on all the by the book growers is killing the by the book growers, and the people who are not by the book are the ones who are benefiting, which is fine if everybody was not by the book. I mean, if there weren't any speed limits and everybody was speeding, you'd go, oh, everybody's speeding, who cares? But the thing is, not everybody's speeding. There used to not be speed limits in Montana. We functioned just fine till the federal government stepped in and regulated our speed limits.
That's because you had horses in 1986, right?
This was like 1993, so we had cars by then.
Oh, okay.
No,
Oh, okay.
it was later than that because
It was a
I
moose.
Yeah, you weren't
drove
riding
under
moose
no
anymore?
speed limit in
Like Nice?
Montana.
Yeah, it might have been up to like 97. I'm trying to remember back. It was
I did
years
it in
ago.
2003.
Well, that's because you were speeding.
So I don't remember where we left off. I think Wyatt and Robert went, but J. Edgar, why don't you go? Who would you
Sorry
vote
about
for today? And if they passed on, who would be your second pick?
Abolish the federal government.
It's not an option.
I know. So is this like
Well,
my question
well,
where
well,
it's got to be
well,
a...
Well,
Go ahead.
then, do you know Adam Kokesh?
I don't.
That's his platform, is to abolish the federal government.
He's a lib candidate.
So is this
Yeah.
like my question at the end of my show that all of you have answered at one point before, where it has to be a Democrat, has to be someone that's running?
Yeah, that's what
Adam
it sounds
Kokesh
like.
is running.
Well,
I mean, he declared 2 years ago. He's running, but he's not going to get anywhere. But that if you know the can, I mean, if you know the can, I mean, he's declared and he's running, but he's not going to get the libertarian nod but that's literally his platform.
so when I look at this, the first thing that I look at is who's got the most outrageous platform, because that's going to be the one that's the hardest to ram through Congress. And I look at Bernie, I look at Tulsi's actual platform, not just what she's screaming at Hillary Clinton, and I look at Yang. And those are the ones that I look at because I know for a fact that once you start to put the brass tacks out there, they're not going to be able to implement anything that they're saying. The presidency is not supposed to have the kind of power that it has. So I'm looking at somebody who's going to be stymied by Congress at every step of the way. Because then we have gridlock in Washington, D.C., and people can start to realize they don't need the federal government. So I would say probably Yang and Tulsi. Because they're at least decent people that aren't, well, they are seeking an overly powerful platform, but for the most part, they're going to get stymied, and they're decent people otherwise. I mean, Yang actually believes the rhetoric that he's putting out there, and Kamala, Warren, Biden, none of them believe the bullshit that they're spreading. Yang actually believes what he's saying, and it's wrong, but he still believes it. And Tulsi
But
at least
Warren
wants to
has
get
a
us out of
plan.
war.
She has a plan, though.
Yeah.
She won't tell you, but she has a plan.
She has a plan to confiscate your paycheck and give you back the stipend that she believes that you need.
Yeah.
What about you, John?
I'm gonna have to go with Mommy Tulsi.
Yeah, that's number one for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to have a military vet in there. That's always nice. And then she's also would be the first woman of color to be in as well. No, that's not why, but
Okay.
it would be true. And she's also the most attractive one up there. So that's a huge, she's got one of the more mild platforms, or one of the more mild, policy positions out of everyone there, and it seems like she wouldn't be like the type to back down. Like, she's got a backbone, and so even if I don't agree with most of her policies, at least she would have the backbone to stand up for, and not just cave when the pressure's on.
Do you have a second? What's your second?
Why do you do this to me, Steven?
Got to.
One was hard enough, man.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna give me two. Nice.
All right. No. I'll just go with Yang. That'll be fine.
Yang. Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
And
I don't want to
Jake?
think too hard.
I'm gonna say the one that I don't know why nobody said. Joe Walsh.
Ugh.
Oh, life's been
I
good
heard
to
it
him
was
so far.
hard for him. Yeah. I was
Because
making the same joke.
at least Joe Walsh is sort of right. I mean, he's kind of establishmentarian loony, but I could stomach voting for him over some of the other people. And then I got to give a shout out to Keenan Wallace Dunham if he's still out there alive.
Yeah.
So just because we've all had him on our channel, and
Yeah.
I would vote for him over a Democrat any day of the week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So there we
I
go.
didn't
There you go,
Yeah.
Keenan. If you're watching this, you better be.
What about
Go ahead,
McAfee?
dude.
I thought that you were all hardcore for McAfee.
Oh
that
man,
would be
McAfee!
sweet. That would be
McAfee
tight,
is
dude.
such a nut job. I like
Dog.
him.
That would be
Oh
so
my
tight.
god! Yeah, I
That would
forgot
be
he was
fun.
even. So he keeps every time I look him up, I'm like, man, are you still running? And he's like, yeah, from the law.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so he
So,
would
well,
he would be a good alternative.
Well, mine, I mean, like, as of right, I don't necessarily like the guy, but as of right now, I would vote Trump. You know,
100%.
yeah, so that's your number one, though. Okay,
Yeah.
so number one would be Trump, and because you didn't say that. You just said Joe Walsh.
Oh, I thought we
Oh.
were doing.
Yeah, I thought
Anybody but
not Trump.
Trump.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I said anybody.
Oh, well then I'm gonna change mine.
That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
they
change your
do.
mind.
That's
I
on
never-
this show.
Why are you guys saying this thing I didn't say? I was
You
just
pranked
saying
us.
going for it.
We all
Even
misinterpreted
pranked
you,
us.
and that's
No.
Yeah.
So but, I mean,
Blame the question person.
Okay.
The interview.
Did you really think we were all like, oh man, I love Tulsi
I
Gabbard?
like,
Yeah.
I like these Democrats. all of a
well, because
sudden.
Robert, don't you like Robert? You're not into Trump, right?
Yeah, no, I pass on Trump only from the standpoint that I don't respect him as a president. I can't find it. I can't. He just does something to spoil it every damn day almost, and that's the problem. But I'm old, right? I hearken back to things like JFK. I hearken back to these presidents that had character and class. They were
Stalin.
gentlemen. They, maybe we could look at it that way. Maybe.
I heard.
Don't put words in my mouth, by
Stalin.
God, by God. No, it's just I don't know. There's just a certain there's a certain something that he doesn't represent as a president for me, and so that's what it comes down to. Policies or not, I'm on 50-50 on stuff he does, but if the man doesn't do it for me.
So would
Yeah.
you be 50-50 on who are your two characters?
Robert or
I have an
Robert.
elf ranger and a
Yeah, no. No, I mean your characters that you said you'd vote for. Was it
Oh,
Tulsi and?
No, I said it's kind of between Bernie and Andrew Yang.
So do you think Bernie would be more 50-50 for you than? Is that just because you're worried about your social, like your Medicaid expiring?
No,
Or
no,
Medicare?
It's
Like why?
well, look. The reason
why
I
Bernie
lean, the
over
reason I like for
There's only one person on the screen that's ever going to get Social Security.
It's true.
oh, just FYI, no,
That's
I
Wyatt.
don't know that there's anybody on the screen that's
Wyatt.
gonna get it. Wyatt. Wyatt's gonna
Wyatt's
get
the
it.
only
Wyatt's
one
fucked.
because it's
Yes.
gonna crash and then get signed
It's-
again by the time he's that old.
It's gonna be called Soylent Green is what it's gonna be called.
Soylent Green. But I mean, seriously, like, do you think you'd align more than 50%
listen.
with Bernie over Trump?
Well, like I said, notice, remember
man.
remember the caveat with Bernie is whether or not he can be some of that socialist leaning he has can be trimmed out by the rest of Congress, between the House and the Senate. But to be honest with you, Yang, I probably lean more towards Yang simply from the standpoint that I'm firmly behind having a businessman running the executive branch. We talked about this on the show with the R-rated conservative last night. When Ross Perot ran many, many years ago, I was behind having a businessman in the White House. When Donald Trump stepped up to the plate for 2016, I said, great, here comes a businessman. Then the rhetoric that he was spewing just began to dissolve all the feelings I had for that.
Like grab her by the pussy? Is that?
Yeah,
what you mean?
some of that stuff. So
Fair
then it winds up, I look at Andrew Yang and I'm like, okay, here's another successful businessman. Is this something, let other people handle the world politics, the global bullshit, the trade agreements, this, that, and the other. He can handle those. He can talk about those. When it comes to the money, that's what the executive branch should be doing is making sure that we're dealing with the world and getting our fair share and putting business back here in America and making it work for us. Balance the fucking books. I'm tired of going into trillions of dollars in debt and being told the economy's great. That doesn't balance in my books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
Yang
been-
over Bernie.
Potentially, yeah. I mean,
Well-
it's I'm not. It's not that I'm just about the socialist programs, but I am for the UBI from the extent that as I've talked about before, I think that it has the potential to get us back to a point of some stronger family value.
I think
Where
it has the
there-
potential to see rent go up $1,000 a month.
Sure,
Is that UBI without
trap.
social programs though? Like, are you talking
Well,
eliminate health care insurance, eliminate all these programs, the food stamps,
It's
the
never gonna happen.
if we eliminated all those, that would be the way I'd be closer to a UBI alternative. But you'd
Well,
have to eliminate
yeah.
entitlements before instituting a UBI, and I think that
Yeah.
we would have a monumental panic crisis because I don't think that many Americans know how to actually take care of themselves. I think that that social safety net is like their therapist. I think otherwise they turn into cockroaches and just lay there and twitch. And so I think it'd be
Sure.
really hard to implement that.
Well, yeah,
now-
I mean, the ghetto would melt down into a nuclear war zone at that point.
Well, now
Or
here's the
everybody
thing.
get jobs.
So
No.
he's discussed that avenue a little bit, and he has said that the smarter thing to do is not immediately go and take away entitlements like we'll look at welfare / food stamps. You don't just go and take that away. You give people the option. So if you're not making what the UBI is going to be from welfare, you give up welfare and you take the UBI. If you are making more than that, you stay on the program that you're on. But the UBI is the impetus to start phasing out those programs and start doing away with them. Because if you simply just took away welfare, just dropped it, the chaos that would ensue. You want to talk about meltdowns in your urban areas? This would be
That's not
the
how
end.
government works.
Well, no,
So,
I've had this
I just
discussion
wanna
before.
Something. I want to throw something out here. Something I can't completely take credit for this, but I was in a discussion with a friend of mine the other day about something similar, and he says, "Well, we already have UBI," and he was discussing all of the social programs.
The regular American, where it might as well just be taxes.
Look, can I just
you know-
say something? Do you see how easily this welfare UBI tax shit becomes a complete circular argument? It
Yeah,
becomes a
yeah.
it becomes a stupid argument. Like even amongst like smart people, it is our money, and they're just giving it back to us. Like so, that's why I just say that taxation may not be theft, but it's something. It's
certainly
what
extortion at the least.
it's certainly something, and it just that's why it's all a trap, yo. Government is never going to shrink its own size.
Well,
Never.
I will agree with the argument that while it may not be within the next, the next 5 years, but in 10 to 20 years, we're going to see some major repercussions from the automation of many jobs, as Andrew Yang talks about. We are on the precipice of this change. And again, I don't have a problem looking to people who are, if you have a company like Amazon who can do 90% of its work without a labor force eventually, well, there's no jobs there, but how are they going to make money? So something's got to give somewhere for people to have money.
So
right?
we've had the same problem. We've had the same problem plenty of times before in the past, and
Every 80 years, man.
And like most problems, government is not the answer.
They're not. Yeah.
So, are we watching cable news channels collapse at like a record rate? We're seeing them all go under, right? And we're seeing people like Matt Christensen. Matt, if you're out there, hey, how are you? I'm in your backyard. We're seeing people like Matt and like Blonde in the Beta, like Stephen Ignoramus, who are becoming ridiculously wealthy from the online business. So, but we're seeing these online companies like Freedom Scoop pop up, and hopefully, or what I foresee happening is, you're going to see an alternative section of the population going to stuff like this, like independent media. I mean, right now I know you can't see it because my connection sucks, but like I'm putting this on my screen in 1080p, so it's HD, right? I'm sure all you guys are streaming with some similar camera, right, with a high definition microphone that you wouldn't have had 10 or 15 years ago. So I think we're going to see the media, the amount of money that the media makes. I mean, the millions and millions and millions of dollars that CNN is funneled every day. If that was distributed between, 500 podcasters across the United States, they could easily feed their families for a year.
What about just the 6 of us here?
Yeah.
That would be fine too. That would be totally fine too.
Let's just do that.
But I'm just saying, like, Jake Tapper's salary could pay all of us for a year easily, and we'd live comfortably, I don't know what he makes, but I know it's in the millions.
Well, it's
I know it's in the millions.
It's just interesting because the problems that things like UBI and stuff are trying to, like, the problems they're trying to address are real, and that, like, they're trying to address. Dude, I mean, automation in the trucking industry is real. I mean,
No, it's not.
Things like
I've
You
been
don't
in the
think
trucking
so?
industry
No.
for 7 years. It is not.
Yeah.
Real
No,
in general, though. In
That's-
general, automation is real.
my point is that you don't eat media, you eat
Yeah.
food. And so if
Fair
there is
enough.
going to be automation in those industries, I mean, like, CNN could go away tomorrow. 0 people will starve other than the people getting fired.
So-
Even they won't. They'll have to get, like, a real job.
Hey, Steven,
like
when was
me,
the
too.
when was the last time you sat in a combine tractor?
This summer.
Okay, so
Yeah.
were you in a new one or an old one?
Old as shit.
So, some friends of mine here in town just bought a brand new combine, a brand new John Deere. Okay, it was like 750,000. Okay,
Oh, they got the strip down one.
Yeah, for the past 10 years or so, they've been producing these. They're 100% automated. Okay, and you sit in it and you plug in north to south coordinates, and it drives itself.
Right.
And all you do is press a button. So, but what we're seeing is we're not seeing less people. We're seeing less people in the farming industry, but the same acres farmed.
Right.
So that would be a sign of automation. So you would think, but there's not less people working because of that. I mean, there's half as many farmers today.
Well, think about it though. I mean, with that kind of automation, like you said, you see less people in farming, but the same amount of acres being farmed. That tells me that there's not as many people working in the industry, but the automation is taking on the bulk of the work. This is the thought with trucking. They're testing the truck, self-driving trucks in the UK. As Andrew Yang has posited, he's got friends in the Valley that are very close to testing self-driving trucks. You've got call center AI now. The AI is one that's really throwing me. I've seen there's AI that is now able to successfully litigate cases to take lawyers out of the loop, so you don't need to have the schmarmy lawyer. You'll have a computer.
GI too. General intelligence is even more advanced than AI,
Right.
and that's what scares me.
Call centers employ a ton of people. We're having less and less need for retail. Amazon is showing that you can have an entire store run with a skeleton crew, and you don't even need cashiers. So there's jobs going away, and it's not easy for the regular citizen out there to just transition over to a YouTube lifestyle where they're podcasting, right? Or they don't have the digital skills. I can sit down on my computer and I can make a living. That's what I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody can, as the thing is, not everybody can learn to code, right? I mean, it's just,
and
so there's going to be a lot of jobs. Do I?
Yeah, I mean, you just said the naughty word.
Oh, right. There we go.
The point is, though, is that the solution is not to give them other people's property, though. Like at the end of the day, like UBI and it's just redistribution, and that's not not right.
So
it's not about what will work. It's about that is not right. Like I don't deserve another person's money.
I mean,
okay, I get
even if it wasn't that, though, it still wouldn't work. Just because if you get $1,000 a month, $1,000 is now the new zero.
Exactly.
That's what I pointed out earlier with the rent.
There's so
right.
many
exactly. Yeah,
and
100% accurate.
And that's I can understand that argument.
I mean, unless we want to implement rent control too, and then now we're going even more socialist.
We see this in Dubai. We see this in other areas of the world where people are getting this type of money. So, I mean, it's not like this is a completely unworldly idea. I mean, these guys in Dubai that make salaries of, $8,000 a month, and there'll be, a million people that are making $8,000 a month in Dubai, salaried by the sheik or whoever he is. I don't know who the president of Dubai is. But
the king, isn't it?
The king, he might be a king.
No, Dubai has presidency.
He hasn't bought me a yacht yet, so that's about all I care about. He hasn't bought me a yacht. So my point is we're seeing that. What? Que pasa? GE? Did he say something?
Steven.
He gone.
Nope.
Oh, he's choppy. He's trying.
He's super laggy.
Who is it? It's just Steven?
Mm-hmm.
Steven, yeah.
Steven.
Okay. Were you saying something, Steven?
I just said it's
it's a sheik. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying something like you can't hear me speak or something. I was
He's
like,
a sheik, baby.
I do.
He is a sheik.
It's a character from Zelda.
Yeah. Hey, so
I want to point something out while we're going back to UBI, because we're talking about making this a federal program, and then John brought up the interesting point of we would have to make federal rent control the same thing. We do have a working model of UBI in the United States. Alaska has an implemented universal basic income, and it's not necessarily to try and fix an economic problem. They do have plenty of work up there and plenty of money to go around. The reason that they're doing it is to try and attract people from the mainland to go up to Alaska. It's a good incentive program on a state level, but once you try to implement it federally, then it's open to crash and burn at that point.
Well, it's also the oil companies that are they're being taxed, I believe, by Alaska.
Right.
So it's the companies themselves that are paying.
Someone has to.
Well, actually, the people of Atlanta, of Alaska, are basically
different place.
They're taking part in the profits from the oil is what it winds up being. But the problem I have with Andrew Yang using that as his model, that's a once a year stipend. It's not like it's a monthly thing. Right. So there's a vast difference there. So their check 1 year may be $800, and then they may have a good year where it's $2,000.
How much is your average igloo cost?
Ha, ha, ha. That is so racist.
It is a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm Inuit.
You're into it. Okay. So let me ask. So let me ask you this question. So and this is, we'll look at it. Take it as hypothetical if you want. But say, 20 years from now, there are far more people in this country unemployed than there are jobs available or going to be available. What do you do in that instance to take care of? How do you handle the population where that many people are unemployed and unable to be employed because automation has gotten to such a degree that many jobs are lost?
Well, we keep saying this over and over again, but we have this conversation every time there's a major technological revolution anywhere in industry. We had the same conversation during the Industrial Revolution, and millions of people lost their jobs during the Industrial Revolution, but they found new jobs.
Well, yeah, I can see that to a certain extent. I think this is far greater though, because this one is specifically to eliminate the need for workers. Period. Everything is looking at being able to be automated. From the way they're talking, I mean, it's almost everything. I mean, even in was it China or Japan? They're doing news broadcasts that are thoroughly done by AI and computer-generated anchors. They don't even have real people doing it. They're testing this out. Robots in their restaurants. It's this. Yes, I understand that something might come along, but I mean that's a lot of people. In this day and age, where money is so important, how can you balance that transition? Where millions of people are going to be out of a job. How long can millions of people in this country be out of a job without chaos taking over?
Well, we did it for 8 years under Obama.
I'm just saying that
I had a job.
It's kind of not government's job to give people like a job.
To give them a handout, or
it's not their job.
The thing that sets this apart, I think, is that this is specifically targeting one of the biggest costs for most companies out there, and that's labor. The money they're going to save on labor is going to just roll into profits. And the more they can automate and cut hours, cut employees, they're going to be all on board. That's just a beautiful capitalist mindset. Let's make that money.
Yeah,
kill the labor, make the money.
It's a vicious cycle, though, if you go around to there, too, because they have to have laborers out there. The country has to have laborers, otherwise these companies are going to fall fallow because nobody's going to be able to buy their product.
Yeah, but nobody's capping the population. They
are in Chicago.
Our population
do purges
over there.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just it's just a thought to me. That I don't know what jobs we're going to see that are opening up for, factory workers that are put out of work, and truck drivers that are put out. What jobs are going to open up for them? Because I can promise you, government retraining on jobs is a shit show. It never works, and
well, no shit. Yeah,
it's a better idea than giving them money.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
education and training is a better call than redistribution.
Yeah, it's never done right. It's never handled properly.
Neither.
Well,
is
no, I understand that.
I mean, we also lost the milkman, right?
So I'm just saying this becomes a circular argument so easy.
Right.
It's all just circular shit.
I mean, and that's what I say. We need to shut the fucking borders down. We need to put a cap on the amount of children people can have.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
China did it for a long time. They control,
They're still doing it.
Are you a Marxist, Robert?
Darwinism is not solving the problem.
Yo,
I'm just saying.
Robert, are you a Marxist?
He is now.
I don't even know anybody named Mark.
I'm serious. Are you a Marxist?
No, look, it's to be honest with you, I am a deep cynic. Yes, I do believe that there's a segment of our population that is unnecessary, and like I said earlier, I don't put a lot of value on. I'm being a realist here. For me, it's not, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying there's a segment of the population that we have that doesn't want to do anything but be a barnacle on the back of the American
And you want to
way
give
of
them
life.
$1,000 a month?
Yeah.
No, I would like for them to be filtered out. We can find ways to
So-
filter
so
them
why don't we-
out.
So why don't we
This is
just
sounding
take-
more and more like the
Bro,
purge.
you're
Yeah.
defeating your own argument.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, no.
Robert,
Shutting the borders down is a good start. We'll work from there.
Robert,
I'll probably be
Robert,
dead
Robert.
after that.
John,
all we
let
have
John
to do,
talk.
all
Let
we have to
John.
do is just take the warning labels off of things. It'll sort itself out.
I'm just
I
saying.
disavow.
Stop telling people not to use the hairdryer in the shower.
Right.
Stop telling them that. Let
You
them
know,
figure it out on their own.
So
It was
real
nice
quick,
having a YouTube channel.
So just real quick, we don't have to end sooner or anything, but it has been an hour and a half, and Jake,
Yeah.
I don't know if Jake is coming back.
I think
he
so. I
said-
think
He just
Okay.
left.
Yeah.
Well, his computer died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that in the
said
chat,
it
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. We might want to wrap up soon, but we don't have to. I'm probably.
Well,
good
you're in
till
charge of
11.
this thing, Steve.
Yeah, well,
Steven,
let's,
you
this
This
invited
is your
us.
show, even though we're hosting it.
Yeah.
Well, let's derail Robert from his Marxism
Yes.
real quick, and
Yeah.
then move on to a different topic. That would be good.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I do have to agree with him on one point because he was talking about the fact that there would be a chaos and meltdown if we eliminated welfare. And I've made that argument before. Actually, my dad and I were arguing about this one day because my dad is, old school Democrat. Everyone should be working, workers' rights Democrat. He's not into the Marxist aspect of the Democrat Party that took over. But we were talking about, how do we get people to have jobs? And he says, well, shut down welfare and everyone will go back to work. And no, it's not going to work like that. If you want to see wages crash in a hurry, shut down welfare. Because there are going to be some
heroin.
damn desperate people out there willing to do anything.
Uh-oh.
Anything at all just to feed their kids and their families. And they will take below minimum wage to do it. That's not the answer, is to shut down welfare.
You can't. It's heroin, and you can't. You
Yeah.
can't just do it overnight. It's
Right.
it's psycho.
Well,
yeah.
I will say this: the chaos that would ensue from that, we could consider that one of those filters I was talking about.
I disavow.
It's like I agree with
just-
Robert on
look.
everything except for the eugenics.
Disavow.
I'm not saying do anything
Sorry,
to
Susan Wiki
anybody.
Wiki.
I'm just saying open a situation and let it
Just a lot
sort
there, Jake.
itself out.
Yeah, that was like the Dark Knight Rises coming in.
Yeah.
You guys hear
More
me
like
now?
the Joker.
The other
Yeah, we
people
can
on
hear
the other
you.
Yeah,
boat,
the Joker.
Okay,
they
look at
have
that.
a bomb
Look at this.
too.
That is a laptop. That is going over here.
Your
In the
computer died.
trash.
I have a 21st century problem, and that's that I have more than one computer device. It's a first world thing. So when one toasts itself, I throw it out the window and get a new one.
Nice.
But you're in a burlap bunker behind Matt Christensen's house. You don't have windows.
Well, that's why.
That's why he cut the hole in
That's why my computer crashed was because of Windows.
I just want to know when you're sending out the Freedom Scoop laptops.
I don't know. We need to someday.
Well, we got stickers we can put on the back of our laptops,
Oh yeah, just cover up that Dell symbol that you still have back there.
So I have another question to go around the room.
Sure.
What country or just what nation do you think is the biggest threat to America? And if you guys want me to go first, I will.
Go ahead.
Yep. America.
God damn it, that was my answer.
Yep. I think we are the greatest threat to us. I think the Russia thing is whack. I would say maybe second place would be either China or Israel.
Venezuela.
Ugh, they ain't doing nothing. Yeah,
I think the reason they're the biggest threat is because they're the most likely country we will invade next.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a dark horse right there. But yeah, I'd say America. So Jake says Venezuela. Robert.
To be honest with you, it's kind of tough for me. I think I have to go. I lean towards the Middle East. I think that I honestly think that Israel, the whole Israel situation is going to probably lead to something greater, or Saudi Arabia, one of the two.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those two are the biggest danger to us because we are so in bed with them and shit's going down with them. Florida. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right. We are the
I thought it was
biggest
assumed
artist.
Florida was just like taking the
Right.
number one
We
spot.
are the biggest
and then
artists. We're coming for you.
Florida man.
Hey, what do you expect from the penis of America? I'm just saying.
All right.
We are the
Hey,
squirrels.
that was originally on the Generational Gap mock-up shirt. Was the Florida coming down as a
That's
big dong
great.
with
I
you
remember that
guys
one.
as the balls? I mean, we can still make that if you really want it, Robert. But I thought your wife might find that inappropriate, so I didn't know if you wanted to wear it around the kids.
So, J. Edgar, what about you? America or someone else?
Honestly, I think about the geopolitical situation that we have right now. I think England is going to be the biggest threat to America and our lifestyle right now.
Good one.
Ballsy answer.
Well, if you think about it, we're sitting in a situation where we are very friendly with the crown and the parliament and the authoritarian state that they have over there, and they are like seconds away on the world clock from a revolution. So half of this country is going to fall back into libertarianism and freedom and want to support the people of England, and yet we are so tightly allied with Parliament and the Crown that our country will fissure on who we support in the English Revolution.
I don't know. I don't think the average person in America knows or cares about what's going on.
Yeah,
over
but
in
we have a
England.
media that'll take care of that,
That's fair, yeah.
especially in alt media, with more of us being on the rise.
What about Mexico?
They're just gonna pay for it, dude.
Yeah.
They're gonna pay for it. That's it.
Yeah, they got the
Mexico.
checkbook right now, so it's all
Let's
right.
keep going though. John, what do you see as the nation entity that is the biggest threat to America?
Canada. Canada.
Troll.
I mean, just look at them.
Are you going
I
with
mean,
the
they're up there.
Broflovsky thing?
That's right. They're up there with their beady little eyes and their flapping heads. They're so polite. I mean, they're up to something. No one's that polite without an ulterior motive. I don't trust them.
Sorry, I
but,
converted Canadian instantly as you said that. I'm so close. We get the pride. We feel Canadian pride down up here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's
Wait,
it.
they're
No,
proud of that?
No, but
They
serious
are.
answer,
They're proud
though,
of being Canadian.
Yeah.
Serious answer.
Serious answer, though. I think China is, especially economically, not necessarily militarily whatsoever. Militarily, not at all.
Yeah.
But economically, yeah, they're buying up huge swaths of the West Coast.
Well,
And
Hey, John, did you read? Do you follow Hillsdale's Imprimus?
no,
Hillsdale just did a whole piece I read actually before the show on Chinese companies that are buying up. Like there are so many Chinese companies on our stock market right now. It's not even crazy. Like in the top 200 index, like 80 of them are Chinese.
yeah,
That scared me. I was like, what?
yeah.
So
They're buying
Yeah.
up all kinds of buildings and like sniping people. Like as people are trying to buy them, just buying it out from under them and then just leaving it empty for months.
Damn.
well, militarily too, I think China does pose a unique threat to the country. And this is coming from a StarCraft player. I'm not going to lie about that, but
Oh, you think
China
China Zerg
yeah, China is like the ultimate Zerg rush because they've got all of these units that they can throw at us, and the government clearly does not give a damn about them, so they're just going to keep throwing them out there.
I've said for a long time they've got 1.5 billion people over there. 2/3 of the population is fodder. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So what about like a year ago? I bet you North Korea would have been on this list, or Iran, and it doesn't seem like any of
Well,
us are really
Not
worried
North
about them.
Korea.
They're not
No,
a threat.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
North
not.
Korea's
Neither of them are a
garbage.
threat. What about you?
But I
Wyatt?
mean, like
Iran's going to be embroiled with Turkey in the next year.
Yeah.
that'll
Yeah.
be fun.
They're
Yeah.
broiling turkeys.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What about you, Wyatt? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say China as well, and I take a slightly different perspective. China, as a communist nation, has controlled their media. Of course, we all know about that. And I just think anyone who has ultimate control of what the mass population hears is someone to be worried about as far as that goes. Because you can see in the U.S. Mass media does to the U.S. population. So I worry about that as a whole concept, and I do think that China poses the biggest threat, and that's just one of the reasons.
Did Wyatt hit his 4 minutes yet?
He
I hope so.
He has. I believe he has managed it.
All right, no more talking, Wyatt.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, no.
Got the mic off.
yeah, I mean the whole. I mean, I think Iran and the Iran thing. That's not our war, yo. I mean,
Yeah.
the Iran narrative is Israel being a problem. Is because we're fighting a lot of their wars. We have been for 25, 30 years. And Netanyahu said in the late 90s that Iran's gonna have a bomb in 5 years, and it's the whole Middle East thing. It's like that's mostly the doing of Israel and oil, So, and North Korea, North Korea is gonna North Korea, and I don't know. I just don't see them as a threat, as big a threat as us or China or Israel's not a threat that they're like gonna attack us, but they just get us roped. I think NATO's a threat, because it's a binding treaty that if someone gets attacked, we have to get their back when it doesn't serve our interests. So it's all at the end of the day, it circles back to us being a threat because we got in these alliances. So it's us.
And that's kind of where I go with the English part of that too, with NATO.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. I have to say though, I'm trying to keep an eye on Syria because right now that situation has the potential to have so much stupidity happen. When we have between Russia, Turkey, and ourselves and the Syrians, the Kurds, there's a lot of stupidity poised to happen. Oops, we didn't mean to do that. Well, here's a war. I don't know. Willie, is he going to go now that we took out Baghdadi? Is he going to go ahead and pull out? Now will we take all the troops out?
All 50 of them?
Well, he sent up a tank battalion in there.
You don't pull out after you've popped the cherry. You wait a little while first.
Well, all right. So I was just wondering because he went back in to make sure he was securing the ISIS situation, and now it seems secure. He got Daddy's his right-hand man. Can we leave now before something stupid happens?
We've kicked ass. We've taken names. Now we just got to hang around for the after party.
No, we should leave.
No,
we should
We
go.
need to elect a Bush. Like, we need Jeb as the next president.
Oh, God. No.
Yeah.
Kiss my Florida ass.
We're almost out of the Middle East. We need Jeb.
I've had some Jeb. I've had plenty of, quite a few years of Jeb. We've had Jeb. Yeah. Yeah. I've still got splinters from the broom. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, you masochist.
All right, so you guys want to wrap up pretty soon? You think that's a good spot to go?
What does the chat think? Chat, should we leave? Should we get out of here, chat? Or do you want to hear J. Edgar sing us a song?
Oh, God, no.
I'd rather hear a song. Yeah.
Yeah, let's wrap up. I got one more question. Let's just go around real quick. On so what is the thing that you're most excited about in the next 12 months with your own channel or with content you're creating or stuff like that? What is the one thing you're most excited about? Let's go with John first.
I kind of got two things.
Cool.
If that's cool.
No,
I mean,
not allowed.
Damn. One is having new and exciting guests on. That's always my favorite part. Is just having someone new on, a new perspective. Because I already know what most of Robert's perspectives are. Sometimes he'll throw in a curveball, but for the most part, pretty. I pretty much know what he's going to say, and I think vice versa. So it's nice to have a new, fresh perspective on. And then the second one is our charity streams. I love doing those. They're a lot of fun. And can't wait to do another one.
Sweet. Roberto?
Yeah, very similar to what John said. No, broadening out. Yeah, like I said early on in the show, broadening that network and becoming a larger part of new media. having the discussions that need to happen. You know, I'm hoping we grow the channel. We're starting to branch out into other sites and, you know, spread our presence out there. And I'm hoping that takes off to get us out there a little bit more and everybody hooks on and we all take the ride together.
Sweet.
Because, you know, nothing's better than a group growth.
That's right.
Nice. So
See,
yeah, I guess
everybody nodded yes at that. I like it. I like it. Well, except Ed. Ed's like, can I set the headboard cam up for a group session?
He's
Gotta get
wondering
a
if
wide
he's,
angle lens.
he wants to know
He's
if
got to
he's
get
the
the
one
picture.
being groped.
Right? Right?
Like,
He's like,
can I be the one being groped?
right.
Pick me.
I know what I'm doing after the stream.
No, I think.
Oh, did we lose? Oh, there he is.
I think we're
I
losing.
saw a head movement.
Oh no! I thought he was just really excited about the
All right,
last
then.
comment for a long. But he
All right, then. So, just in case till he gets back, Ed, we'll throw the
it's
onus
a
on you.
Groupon.
Oh, there it is.
Whoa,
A group,
I heard something about a Groupon.
a group.
Oh, no, Echo Beam. Did I delay that
Yep,
much?
we heard the porn
Yeah,
star,
you did.
1970s
No
porn
way.
star
That
music
was like
come in
40
as
seconds.
you came back in.
Yeah.
So if I'm back, am I back now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to echo what Robert and John just said. I'm really excited to get interesting people on the show. But the thing that I'm I'll be doing episode number 250 on New Year's, and I don't know, I'm pretty excited for that. But the thing I'm the most excited for in the next year is getting out on the street more in DC and interviewing protesters and things like that. And you know, I'm probably going to move out of DC sometime late 2020 or early 2021.
yeah.
So definitely going to capitalize on the election and just interviewing people and going to rallies and things like that with a camera.
Dude.
And I'm excited for the primary source footage. So that's it
Dude,
for me.
You got to come to Florida, man. We got no state income tax.
Ooh.
It's pretty sweet.
You
Yeah,
gotta
man.
come to Montana. We have bears and Canadians.
yeah. See the Canadians thing, you lost me.
I don't know if I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hey,
what about
buddy.
what about you, J. Edgar? What are you most excited about?
The thing I'm most excited about, and this is kind of what I've been seeing in the last few weeks since I've started the live stream, is I looked at the community that Matt Christensen built around his channel, and I'm starting to see some inklings of that come around my channel as well. I've got a group of regulars that watch every one of my shows, and they're getting to become friends with each other. None of them knew each other just a few weeks ago, and that's how you start a movement. That's how we start to change things. That's how we start to shrink the size of the federal government, is getting like-minded people together and talking. And there's a 50-50 shot that I may have a co-host coming into the next year. So,
Want to share who that was?
That was a nice little drop there.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you prepared? Should we prepare a vetting process? The Freedom Scoop vetting process.
well,
Well, I mean, we made it, so there's
Yeah.
obviously no vetting process.
Right. I'm not saying there's any real restrictions
Like,
or anything. I'm just
Do you know how to talk?
right.
can you fog up a mirror?
Are you
Words.
You-
over the age of 6?
You do words good. You do words
You-
good.
You can words good.
And
You
all
guys
of you
like,
who watch my show
no
actually
hablo
you have
inglés?
seen who the
No-
person
no
would be.
hablo.
So
No habla inglés.
Yo, Wyatt, what about you? Did you answer while I delayed, or I don't
No.
know how long I was gone? But yeah,
No.
so Wyatt, what about you for what you're excited about, dude?
Well, I've been saving up some extra cash from my job and invest some just better technology. But I've making a shopping list to buy like better lights to make it the area look better, and some background things to help. But the biggest thing what I'm looking forward to is starting live streaming, as I've kind of already practiced a little. None of it's been published, but just kind of getting used to OBS and playing around with it, because it is a good software to use, and there's plenty you can do with it. But just trying to play around with that. So I plan to start live streaming and kind of upgrade the area around this room just to make the quality a little bit.
Cool.
All right.
That was
All
funny
right.
how did that drop right at the end when you were talking about quality?
Yeah, I think so.
Could have been.
It cut out.
Yeah, that was hysterical. It's like,
Glad it wasn't just me. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, damn. All right, what
I'm
about
gonna upgrade my quality.
Yeah.
yeah? What about you, Jake? What are you most excited about for media and content next year?
Yeah. When are we getting our
I'm
plane?
excited. Well, I'm excited that Steven's gonna hit 500 followers on YouTube by the end of the year.
Mhm.
That's pretty
Sweet.
awesome.
Nice.
That's my goal for him. I don't know if that'll happen, but I think it will.
I
I think
so.
you can hit 500 by the 31st.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can get some merch in J. Edgar's hands that actually says the J. Edgar podcast pretty soon by the end of the year. Like, I need to get some mock-ups and some designs ready for you. You too, Steven. You too, but you don't like any of my work, so that's fine.
Aw.
Oh,
Is that
Oh.
true? Did I say that?
No, I don't know. I sent you a T-shirt design. You're like,
Oh.
yeah, it's garbage. Go away.
No.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't say that shit.
I'm feeling sad. No.
Oh.
Anyway, so we got to get Steven a shirt. We got to get Ed some shirts. You guys don't wear sweatshirts because you guys are like in the hot. But Steven might want a sweatshirt. Maybe we should get Steven a sweat. Do you wear sweatshirts?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, DC's pretty cool. Do you wear clothing? Like,
just
what
my
do you-
top half.
Yeah.
so you teach music, right?
Yeah.
So, like, maybe a guitar pick.
Ooh.
oh,
We could get, like, Steven Ignoramus guitar picks.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be kind of sweet.
That would
Oh
be cool.
my.
Yeah.
Get some bass strings too. I'll buy them.
Keytar straps. Keytar straps.
There you
Guitar
go.
straps. I would do that. I would get a strap.
All right. Let me see what I can do. So I'm kind of excited about the expansion. I'm really excited about getting some sponsors that'll actually fund, so we can keep doing these streams and maybe getting some more people that watch into the store and getting them to buy some merch. Which I haven't said anything yet because I was gonna say more on the Halloween stream because I thought that's when we made all of our announcements. What is this? What was that, John? I just saw you
Oh,
on the
that was
playback.
that guitar. That was.
Oh, okay.
That was Steven playing guitar. He does.
So
that.
I've got you guys up here, and then I've got another screen down lower that shows like post and
Yeah.
and I just saw that. I'm like, what is this? So
Yeah, it's either
I'm
the
excited
guitar or
about this.
Thriller.
Yeah, I thought you were being
Yeah.
a kangaroo or something like.
Yeah, something like that.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm just excited about all of us. We're championing on, and maybe we can get a couple more podcasters on board. Maybe we can get Wyatt to do some like podcasts. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Staff
That's a
writer
future
Wyatt.
plan,
bro.
Yeah, that's a
Like that.
future
This,
plan.
in the chat, we've got the artist says he designs apparel for a living. So
Really?
yeah, artist. If you want
Is
to
this
jump in
Ed?
our,
Is this Ed's
go
guy?
ahead.
No, this is from my channel. He's
Yeah,
a
it's
he's a
from
wrench.
your
on my
channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
A
want to jump in our
wrench?
Discord, artist, I'm sure Jake would like to talk
Yeah.
to you.
So now this is a
links in the
wrench, not a
description.
wench, right?
I think
There's
this
no
is a
difference.
man. It's a man.
Okay.
baby.
No
I
difference.
just wanted to make sure. So
Oh,
I
men
know,
can't
Ed-
be winches now? Men
I know,
can't be-
right?
Oh,
Come on,
Racist.
figure.
That's a very sexist attitude there.
It's a very
Wow.
bigoted
I don't know. I'm
comment.
excited
Wow.
for everything. I think we're kicking ass and taking names, and we need to keep doing this. That's all.
All right. That's a good spot to wrap it up.
Hey.
I'm going. Yep. Go ahead.
hey, I was going to throw one thing out at you, Jake, just simply because I know that you have, better connections in this area. We need to get more politicians on our shows, guys. I think it would be awesome if we could, even if it's, starting at a local level.
What
I've
do you
talked to
think
John
about-
about this.
Yeah.
What do you think about some state reps? Would you be cool with that?
Obviously.
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Well, the national representatives, like federal guys, they're hard to get.
Right. Sure,
but-
sure.
but
Well,
I
you
don't
know,
want anyone
usually-
from Montana either. That's too
we
close
work
to
our
Canada.
way up.
It's
We
'cause
can work our
lizards
way
are
up.
slippery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We-
But
But
I don't know if you
You know-
guys remember, like a year ago, last year, well, I don't know how much. Anyways, one of my good buddies is still running for Maxine Waters District in California, and so I interviewed him a year ago, and I did a write-up on him, and I'm thinking that we might be able to get more stuff like that, where you just call him and get him a phone in, So this is kind of live ad lib on air. You guys are, I know Ed and I have done this before, but now we got all sorts of viewers looking at us going. So yeah, we'll get some people on. Let's get some politicians on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great season for it, and I know that there's plenty of us on here that are willing to hold some feet to the fire with the kind of questions they're not going to get from MSMs and on the local level or the national level. So
there was like 60 people running for the Democrat primary seat, so there's probably a few of them that would be more than eager to come on a show like this.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
we got to get Congresswoman Katie Hill on the show.
Oh man,
that would be amazing.
Just with her nudes.
Oh no.
No.
Did you just say no?
It's like I'm more interested in the Iron Cross.
Oh.
Well, no. So what we do is we have her on, right? She's got her little camera spot, but instead of having her camera feed, just put the nudes right there. So it's like her voice coming out of the nude.
She should just start like she's never coming on your
It's
guys'
got the little.
Yeah.
I know.
Disavow.
You know when they have a person talking and it has like the audio waveform when it's just audio? It's just like her nude with the All right. Anyone else have any closing thoughts? And we can, I don't know, if not, we can wrap up.
Well, let's go with the tradition that I always do on the end of my show since I'm hosting one of the streams here. So we always try to end everything on a positive note on this show. So let's talk about a hobby that each of us has that has nothing to do with work or politics. Steven, why don't you start?
I guess my main hobby is music, but it's also my work. So I like to read a lot. I got an extensive reading list of all kinds of philosophy things. So I just try to read, and I like working out with kettlebells. Kettlebells are the shit. So getting swole.
John, you were just on my show and you answered this question. What do you got, though?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to answer it the same way. I enjoy practicing HEMA, which is historical European martial art. That's a lot of fun. Don't get to do it too often, but when I can, I do.
That's okay. Anavaltis will hand your ass to you.
Oh, he wishes. And then, for the past year and a half, I've been learning a second language. So that's been a lot of fun. Really frustrating.
It's Russian. He's learning Russian.
I'm a Russian asset, yeah.
He's a Russian bot.
I am, yeah.
Robert,
hi,
what do you have?
hobby.
He gets high, is what he's saying.
I was trying to be succinct. I'm sorry. Let me expand upon that. To be honest with you, the thing that I've been finding I'm doing besides gardening, because as I've said before, my wife and I try to maintain a wildlife habitat here in our urban environment. Shout out to my wife. Our wildlife habitat was just recognized by the mayor of Orlando as a part of their green initiative that's going on here in Orlando. So that was a big thing. I was very happy about that. So that takes up a lot of time. And I'm actually finding myself studying the mobile video game market and the evolution of that. I find it very interesting.
Jake?
Cool. I didn't know.
What do I do for fun? Well, I start groups like freedomscoop.com. That's pretty much it. That's my.
Well, you build stuff too, though, but that's work. But you build stuff on the outside. Like, look at what you've done for our merch, things like that. You're very creative.
Yeah, I do a lot of that, and that's kind of. It's like I try to turn all of my hobbies into something successful, and it never works. So, no, it works, but that.
Yeah, wait, what?
What does that say about Freedom Scoop? Oh shit! Bye, guys.
So I got all these hobbies that I try to follow, and most of them are ridiculous, and so only like the top 10 control my life at a time, like building houses. I'm remodeling a house right now. That's why I have burlap up behind me, so you don't see bare drywall. And yeah, people are like, what's behind you? It's not dead bodies, and it's not Matt Christensen. It's actually just drywall, just so you know.
That's boring.
Yeah, I know. I know. So yeah, I build things and whatnot. So I'd say my hobbies are building things and whatnot.
Wyatt.
Did you guys see that anticlimactic ending?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to talk over Wyatt. Wyatt ran over his 4 minutes time. I'm sorry, Ed. You're gonna have to pass.
Oh man.
No, I mean lately.
Nope.
Got his mic.
It's
Shut
the
the fuck up,
moderator.
Jake.
Oh, Toasty, we have to go to break now.
Yeah.
That was the comment of the night. You win. Can somebody get that man a gold star? Oh my god.
No, but I've mainly been on YouTube phase, like watching a ton of YouTube videos while studying. No, but the big thing what I've been doing now is a lot of like reviews of like Ralph the Movie Maker and like Your Movies Suck. I don't know if any of you have watched those content creators, but
Yeah.
I was on a phase of watching. I Hate Everything's movie reviews of his worst like movies of like the top 100 worst, and he's made a whole bunch of them, and I've been catching up on all of the reviews of them, and it's just kind of really funny, and it's like there's some really really bad movies out there.
So I think I heard Ralph, everything you make suck, and I hate everything about you.
Yeah, he was talking to
Is
you,
that-
Jake. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm like.
Yeah.
Squeeze me.
It's a hidden
What?
message.
Yeah. It's all subliminal.
And Ed,
Yeah, what about you, Jed?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's ever
tell us
had the
about
chance to
yours.
ask me
What
about
about
this.
sexy hobbies.
Come on,
Show
Jedgar.
us your body.
Jedgar, what you got?
Edgar.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be adding some video game streaming to my YouTube and my streams.
Oh.
But my big hobby
Shut
that I do
up.
most of all is I'm like Robert. I garden, but I raise carnivorous plants.
Oh, guys, look at this. Sorry, I gotta reach by my computer. Ed, look what I bought. Okay, I wanted to be like Ed, so I got a plant thing. Look at this plant thing. It's really cool.
I like the
You see it?
bridge.
Yeah,
It's got
that's awesome.
zombies on it. It's like kind of Halloweeny, and it's in a cool box.
Halloween.
I bought it at Taco del Sol for $20. So it's like supposed to be like air plants. I bought it at a taco shop, so I don't know if it'll live. But yeah, so
Taco
I plant
shop.
too. Yeah, the taco shop was selling plants. I was like, I gotta buy the plants, not the tacos, but the plants.
That sounds a little
History.
shady. No.
Well, would you buy a taco from a plant shop?
Let me get them plants. Yo.
Yeah, right?
Would you buy a taco from a plant shop?
Maybe. I mean, would you buy meatballs from IKEA? I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of the same deal, I think. Yeah.
Did you say meatballs from IKEA?
They're good,
Yeah,
yo.
yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Don't you
Swedish
dare!
meatballs.
Don't you dare knock the meatballs
Yeah, how
at
dare you
IKEA.
disparage?
I live in
meatballs.
Montana. There isn't an IKEA for like 1,000 miles.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You're owing to
Sweden's
yourself.
closer than the nearest IKEA there.
yeah, but
But
we do have a Chick-fil-A.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah,
You son of a bitch.
I know.
There's one like right up the road for me.
We call it the Christian chicken.
Right.
I don't think you have an IKEA because you're already far enough out in the sticks. You're building your own furniture anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, yeah, they don't need any more. Build your own furniture.
The Hutterites here come to town to shop, and it's because we're so remote that like this is like living in a Hutterite village. They don't know the difference.
And I think that's where we'll leave it, folks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read us out, and so everyone out there, thank you for the chat participating tonight. Subscribe to Gap Round.
Is he skipping out on you
Yeah,
guys?
yeah,
Yeah,
all
he's
of us.
skipping
Hey,
out.
Steven.
Yeah.
Don't move around.
Ah.
Yeah, subscribe to Gaps.
Yep.
Edgar Round. Oh,
Brad- Oh no.
that was awkward. Am I back?
Yeah,
You
don't
want me
move
to
when
read
you
us out?
talk. Don't move when you talk.
You're
Don't
fucking
move when you talk.
man.
Please subscribe to. Yeah, you guys down below in the show.
Nope, he's out again.
Oh,
watch
man.
all of Steven's
See,
old
he's
videos
saying
and
there's
just
there's
copy
links
that.
to all of our streams down
Is it the
low.
music?
It
Way
might
back
be.
now?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
fine now.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think it's the
You
music.
It might be
yo.
the music.
Yeah, because you're feeding to us, you're not
Oh.
feeding directly, and we've always had problems skipping when you were on
So
my
you've
show.
been been undermining us this whole time.
The whole time.
Oh.
Steven is a Russian
This
accent.
is really weird.
Confirmed.
Anyway,
Accent?
well,
Steven has a
accent.
Russian
He
accent.
does, yeah. It's not a good one, but he has one.
Steven, can
It's
you read us
Tulsi
out in a
Gabbard
Russian
with a
accent?
beard.
What do you mean play us out? I can't.
Can you-
fuck it? I'll write
can
it.
you-
We'll do it live. I
All right,
don't
can
know
you-
what that means.
What
Can
does
you
that
read
mean?
us out in a Russian accent, though?
All right.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
For the rest of program, please subscribe to all channels, various channels. Wyatt, freedomscoop.com. I don't know. I'm not doing well. Thanks for coming out tonight. It was a good show. This is all the content contributors at freedomscoop.com. Robert, Wyatt, Jake, J. Edgar, and John. Please subscribe to the various channels. Have a great night, everybody. Signing off.
See you guys.